Hey guys, welcome back to Unbiased Magic Reviews. It's been a minute. Today I have a magic review of some card magic that came out this past year that I don't think got enough attention. We're going to be taking a look at Atomic by Yoann. Now, I've been following Yoann's work for over 10 years now. He started putting out card magic under Magical Sleight. He was also the editor-in-chief of the short-lived Bullfrog magazine, but you may remember some of his card magic projects like Modern Intricacies and the Coma Change, which was a really excellent change. Some people that I knew thought that a lot of his card magic was very difficult because it was very sleight intensive and advanced card magic. He hasn't put anything out for about 5 years now until he put out this project called Atomic, and it's pleasing to see that this is probably like beginner intermediate level, so this is well in the reach of anyone who's interested in card magic, which is why I think you guys should probably take a look at it if you're interested in something new, something different. I think that there's a fresh take on some card plots as well as some original thinking here that you really shouldn't let pass you by. As usual, I'm going to give you guys an idea of what you're going to get. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, and then I'm going to demo for you guys a couple of the routines because I've been using this material for over 6 months now, and I have incorporated a couple of pieces of this magic in my own repertoire. So you can pick this up directly from Yoann on his Gumroad site, and I think he's charging $20 for it there. Or you can get it from Vanishing Ink for $15, which is really a real steal. You're going to get 9 routines. You're going to get 2 bonus pieces. It's about 65 minutes of video footage. Now, all of this magic is very practical because it's pretty much from a shuffle deck in use. There are no gaffes, no gimmicks. You don't need any duplicates, although there is one routine that you can use a duplicate for. And it's just nice that most of this magic is stuff that you can do on the fly from a shuffle deck. It's very visual. All of these pieces are very quick, so none of them are long-winded. And I would tell you guys it's very creative and visual, which is why I really like it a lot. So I'm going to go over for you guys my rating of this project, and I've come up with a new rating system. And then we're going to go over all the pieces you can expect here. And like I said, I'm going to demo a few of them for you. So the rating is as follows. I have some new categories. The first category is originality. And here I would give this project 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the main reason is because even though a little more than half of the routines are just variations of well-known card plots out there, there are some original card plots on this project, so that's nice. So I definitely would give this 3.5 out of 5 stars for originality. In terms of creativity, I would give it 5 out of 5 stars, and the main reason is because all of these routines are structured in a very creative way. There's an economy of motion. They're all very visual, and that's great because there's so much card magic out there that they're just minor tweaks on well-known routines that really don't need tweaks. You'll find that there's a lot of card magic out there where they're using the same moves over and over again, Elmsley counts and stuff like that, and it just is so boring. So it's nice to see this fresh look at a different way of doing card magic. In fact, almost every routine on this project uses what I would just call like the atomic displacement of cards, which is really unique to Yoann and this project, which is kind of refreshing as well. So definitely very creative, like I said, very visual, and I really do like his economy of motion. So I definitely give this 5 out of 5, and especially those routines that are unique that you're going to find on this project that you're not going to see anything like this in any other card project out there. The next category is the teaching, and I would give the teaching 4 out of 5 stars because I thought that it was taught well because it's an over-the-shoulder camera angle. The only thing that could have been improved was if there was some speech that was included, because there's no verbal communication, no verbal teaching. It's all just a slow motion over the shoulder view There is some text, but that's pretty much it for the teaching. The next category is practicality, and for most people this is probably the most important, which is how practical is this magic. If you need to have some type of strict conditions, or you could only perform this on some social media, then it's probably not very practical. And I'm happy to tell you guys that all of these routines are extremely practical, because you're literally using a shuffle deck, could be a borrowed deck, and none of the moves are knuckle busting difficult, where you're going to be sweating bullets when you're performing this live for people. So again, very practical stuff that you're going to use in the real world, which is why I give it 5 out of 5 for practicality. The next category would be audience response, and I would give that 4.5 out of 5 stars, and that is over the past 6 months testing out this, road testing this material myself. I've been getting really good responses, and that's why I've incorporated several of these pieces into my own repertoire. And then the final category is price, and I would give that 4.5 out of 5 stars. And the reason is because if you do pick this up for 15 bucks, you really can't beat that for getting 9 routines, and several of them, like I said, are completely original to this project. All right, let's take a look at some of the routines that you're going to learn on this project. And like I said before, I'm going to demo a couple of them as I go through what you can expect, because as you know, I actually use this material. So the first effect that I think you're going to probably use the earliest is called DCheese. And for this, you're going to set aside your favorite 4 of a kind, whatever that is. Let the spectator shuffle the deck. The reason it's called DCheese is because it's double cheese or double sandwich. That's the idea, because you're going to do a double sandwich, literally. You have one spectator touch a card, you have a second spectator touch a second card, and you tell them, look, I've got here 2 cards. They just happen to both be clubs. I want you to just try to remember the 8 of clubs and, of course, the 7 of clubs. Just try to remember those 2 cards. In fact, I will lose them in different parts of the pack like this. You could even do like a little dribble if you want. And then at that point you ask them, do you remember the 4 of a kind that I set aside when we started? They'll say, yeah, the 4 jacks, and you say, yeah. So it's just the 2 black jacks and of course the 2 red jacks. And what I'm going to do is very simple. I'm going to just take the deck, split it in about half, put the black jacks down there, and then the red jacks we're going to leave up here near the top. If I just snap my fingers and wait a moment, and this is really the best part, you spread this out and you have this lovely display where you have the red jacks that have trapped a card, the black jacks that have trapped a card, and of course they're not just any cards, they're going to be that 7 and 8 of clubs. And that is probably the easiest effect on there. It's very visual, it's very quick, and it looks impossible. Definitely a favorite, and I think you're going to like that quite a bit. The next effect on this project that I think you're going to like, and it's my personal favorite, is called Venise. And this is a variation of Roy Walter's collector's effect. It cleans up some of the issues that I've had with the collector's effect, which is why I like it so much. And I really love the visual nature of how you throw the 3 selections at the 4 of a kind. I thought that was very clever, and it just looks great, and it gets amazing reactions from people when you do it, because they're just totally shocked. So I'm going to demo it for you guys, but just to give you an idea, if you're not familiar with the collector's effect by Roy Walton, typically you take a 4 of a kind and you put it aside. You have 3 selections made from the deck, either from this by the same person or 3 different people. They're lost in the pack. And then in most versions of the collectors, you have to pick up the 4 of a kind and put it back on the deck before you can show that the 3 selections are trapped between the 4 of a kind, which is what I never really liked about the collectors, and why I like this version, because instead of doing that, you're taking the 3 selections that they saw very fairly and you're throwing them at the 4 of a kind. It looks very magical in that way. In fact, let me demo it for you in my own hands so you can see what it looks like. All right, here is a 1-minute trick for you. I call it that because it's literally that fast. You're gonna just need the 4 jacks, and this is completely impromptu. You're gonna say, look, we're gonna take the 4 jacks, leave them right there, have 3 selections made. They can be any 3 that you like. In this case, they're these. You tell the spectator, it doesn't matter so much the color as it is the value. So remember, a 4, a 3, and a 5. That's pretty easy. We're gonna actually throw them at the jacks in a sloppy way, just like that. And then here you could show that you've got 1 card in between each of the jacks. Of course, you can strip them out and show that you've got the 3, the 4, and the 5, and that is the effect. And that's it, it's just a really quick little effect. All right, you guys took a look at what it looked like, and I can tell you from my own experience, it's really not that difficult to perform, and it's a lot of fun. The next effect is called Dreamcatcher, and this effect is a little different than what you typically find out there. It is original, and what I liked about it was that this effect is like this. You take a 4 of a kind, you put it aside, you have somebody make a selection out of the pack, and then you show the 4 of a kind, you immediately pick them up, and what you're gonna do is magically each of the 4 of a kind changes into the mates of the selection. So basically the 4 of a kind that you are now holding turns into the 4 of a kind of the person's selection. So if the person had selected a 5, each of the 4 of a kind is going to change into the other 5s, and then the final card is their card. It'll be like the final 5, the one that they actually really selected. I really like that because you're getting so much magic out of such a simple maneuver that it really does look great, and it's so easy to perform. You'll be performing this in no time, and I think a lot of you are going to like it a lot. For me, I definitely liked it. It's definitely something that I used quite a bit over the past 6 months. The next routine that I wanted to go over is called VEV, and I thought this was the most original and most creative effect on this project. I think that you're really going to like it a lot. There's a very minor setup, but it's definitely worth it, and you could do it on the fly. And what the routine looks like is this, is that you take the 4 aces and you put them in all different parts of the deck. Instantly, they penetrate right through the pack and just drop into your hand. You can show them cleanly, and then what you basically do is you show the 4 aces and you do everything backwards. So basically you take the 4 aces and you put them on the bottom of the deck, but instantly they distribute themselves back through the pack again. You strip them out and show the 4 aces. And I love how at the very end, you pretty much end clean. There's one simple thing you have to do to totally end clean, which is why I liked it a lot. I performed this a lot over the past 6 months. I've gotten really good reactions from it, and people are going to want to look at the deck because they're going to be convinced that you have more than 4 aces in the deck when you do this for them. At least that's the reaction that I got. I really liked it a lot, and like I said before, I thought this was the most original and creative effect on this project. I really liked it a lot. I think that you're gonna like it a lot. The next effect I'm gonna go over here is called KLAP, and basically this is a 4 ace trick where you lose 4 aces in the pack and then you produce them magically one at a time. There's a lot of different versions that exist out there of this type of effect. This version is very easy to perform. It's very visual. I think you're gonna like it. I utilized it a handful of times, but I'm not a big fan of the kind of like lose 4 aces, produce 4 aces type effect. But if you like that kind of effect, I think that you might like it. The next effect is called SpoTrans. And I think the reason he called that is because he had another transposition type effect where he actually called it transpo. So this is like the opposite, SpoTrans. This effect, I found it to be a little bit angly, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to perform. Basically, what you're going to do is this, is that you're going to have a card selected, and you're going to put it in the back of the deck face down, and then you're going to show that the top 4 cards are a 4 of a kind. Instantly, those 4 of a kind change into the selection. You reach back and pull out the card that's in the back, but now that is the 4 of a kind. So that is the transposition. It's a 4-to-1 transposition. It's not difficult to perform. I think you're gonna like it, but it is a little angle sensitive, probably the most angle sensitive routine on this project. So it may be something that you would more likely perform over social media rather than in real life. The next effect we're going to go over is called My Final Reset. And if you are a fan of the reset plot, then you're going to like that, and that's a 4-for-4 switch type effect. There's lots of different versions out there. What I thought was really clever about this version is that Yoann does use a gambling move to get into it and set it up and do the transposition of the 4-for-4. And I really like it a lot. I thought it definitely was a fresh look at the reset card plot. Next effect here that you might like is called Griffle, and this is a card splitting effect where you take a 4 and you instantly split it into 2 2s, and then you take the 2 2s and you split them into the 4 aces. Again, another visual and quick effect. I didn't think it was too difficult to perform, and if you are into that kind of effect, you may like it. Personally, I'm not that big into that kind of effect, but some people probably would like it a lot. And then finally, the last effect on this project, which was my least favorite, was called Finder. And the reason that I didn't like it so much was because I thought it was a little bit confusing. So basically in this version, you're going to have 3 cards that are selected and lost in the pack. And what you're going to do is you're going to place 3 jokers between 4 jacks, and then those 3 jokers switch into the 3 selections. So it's almost like a collectors and transposition combined. I thought it was a little bit confusing, so I think that it may be like an effect that you may like it, but again, I thought it was a little bit confusing, so it's something that I personally didn't use, although it is interesting to look at and study. Those are the 9 effects on this project, and there are 2 bonus effects. There's a color change, which he called Razor Blade. I think it was called Razor Blade. And it is a color change effect, which looks a lot like the Bertram color change. A little bit angle sensitive. You may like it. If you like the Ross Bertram color change, then I think you might like that. And then there's a card control. The card control is called Manga. Personally, I didn't like the card control because I thought it was really knacky and difficult, because I thought that you had to really have a good feel for how you bevel the deck to do the card control. If you are interested in some card controls from Yoann, he did put out a card control that I thought was amazing. It was called Pull, and I can't remember now offhand what project that was on, but it was an excellent card control. And this is from, like, 10 years ago now we're talking about, maybe like 8 years ago. Excellent card control. He also did put out another excellent card control, which is called the no cover chain, or no, I think it's called the no cover pass is what it's called. And again, it's another excellent card control that you may be interested in tracking down. But the one that's on this project, Manga, I didn't like it, and it's not something that I would use. But that's pretty much what you can expect on this project, and you can see for $15 you're really getting a lot of magic. In terms of the real negatives of this project, if I would say that there are any negatives, I would say that the bonus items were really, I didn't really like them. So I think that was the real negative. I think that the 9 routines are all decent, with the exception of maybe the Finder, because I thought it was confusing. I thought the teaching could have been improved a little bit if they added some verbal teaching. But that being said, when you compare this with other card magic products out there, I think this is superior to many other card magic products out there. And if you're looking for something that's really just different, then I think you're going to like it a lot. And I think this is well in the reach of anybody who's interested in card magic. This is not stuff that's super advanced and impossible to learn. So definitely something you should check out. I would highly recommend this project to you guys. And as I mentioned before, I would rate this as 4.42 out of 5. As usual, if you guys have any questions about this project or comments, just leave them for me below and I'll try to answer them. Thanks again for tuning into my magic reviews, and I'll see you on the next one.